Anyway, that was the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are going to reconvene. And Roski, stop it. We're going to reconvene. August 8th. Jesus fucking Christ.
Ow!
I am under a blanket. I am sweating my
I was going
right
to say,
now.
let's not have Crow get heat stroke over here.
I'm close to it.
What's that?
Three, two, one. Welcome to the Operation STRIX podcast. I am your host, The Crow. Joining me today is Roski Draftsman. Was that a Mario impersonation?
I don't
I'll take that as a yes. Yeah. Cool Blu-rays.
Hi, everyone.
And Sid.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
How is everybody doing? I haven't seen you guys in like a month, and I
Yay.
appreciate you guys taking care of things while I was gone and getting drunk at the beach.
Absolutely.
I was also gone last time. So.
Yeah.
Who
Me
got
and Sid
drunk
were
at
at the
the
beach.
beach?
We were getting drunk at the beach.
Oh, I guess.
I actually don't remember where I was.
Yeah, you were at the beach with me. We were drunk.
Stepping on the
You were
beach.
drunk, apparently, to remember
Yeah,
anything.
not
You
drunk
got some
enough.
scotch?
Because we made it back. I do have some scotch right here because Endo is driving me to drink along with all the fun
Other
politics
things.
that have been
Other
happening in
things.
my country in the past 8 hours.
Yay!
So,
It's been 2 weeks.
8
2
hours?
weeks for me.
Yeah,
been hell.
it has been a ride.
yeah, me and Sid are drinking right now. So let's go ahead and get started. Yay. Yippee!
Stepping on the
Let's
beach.
start with what we didn't talk about last chapter because we did not have enough to talk about with this chapter, so we just rolled it in with chapter 102. We're talking about 101 right now.
Mhm.
I don't know if we didn't. We just chose not to.
I mean, we kind of did, but at the same time, I was like, I feel like a lot of it would have been rehashing what we talked about with chapter 100, which is like it's just very depressing and war is hell, and Martha is not having a fun time. I think that's basically what it boiled down to with
We're
last
trying
chapter.
to get back to Berlin, and then she made it back. And
Yeah,
the latest
that-
chapter. So.
That was the summary, basically. I'm like, we can't stretch that out for an hour. I mean, we could, but nobody would listen to it. So,
Well, I think there was still some nuance thrown in there.
oh, definitely.
There is,
Definitely.
but there is, but I guess we now have a nice little bow to tie it all in, or some
We
shit
do.
like that.
A very sad, very angsty bow.
It's more bittersweet, honestly, but
It's hopeful. It's more hopeful than I anticipated it was going to be, which I
no,
appreciate. But
I mean, I did expect something. I mean, I didn't expect the bad things to happen, but the good things
definitely.
were a nice surprise. Well, some of the good things were a nice surprise. Others are. It was like it kind of has to go in this direction. There's no other direction you can go to where they are at, and not be unlikable.
yeah, no, I know what you're getting at because, like, I mean, so like, all right, I'll just speed run the TLDR. Basically, what Sid said was Martha. It continues off from when she left off from. Oh God, I forgot her name, but the older lady that took her in when she floated down the river. So she gave her clothes, a map, and then she set her off on her own. Martha cuts her hair, poses to be a man as she walks through Westalis, trying to get back to Ostania. She gets caught by some soldiers returning from the front. They want to shoot her because it's like, hey, he's an Ostanian soldier. They don't think she's a woman, but they're like, no, the war is over, and that's how Martha figures out that the war is over. And then she makes it back to a unit that is retreating, and she makes friends with what is his name? name?
Paul.
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 Poor Paul.
Poor Paul.
Poor Paul. Yeah. The conditions are not great, and her and Paul kind of hit it off a little bit. There's a little bit of flirting there, but
He was
Martha,
doomed. He was doomed.
doomed the minute Martha
he was
started
introduced.
flirting with him. Yeah, no. He died, and that was the end of last chapter. Or am I missing anything important on that, guys?
No.
No.
Well,
I mean, there's
there
nuance
is,
to
okay.
there's nuance to that, but
I mean, I think I can understand why it's hard for some people to see this chapter and not think it's like Endo is just padding out more of this sad reality. With,
I
Martha's
do not think that.
character.
I never thought that.
A little bit.
And, like,
I agree with it a little bit. Just a little bit.
I
Just a
don't
little bit.
really think that's what Endo was going for, personally speaking.
No.
No.
I think. I mean,
Go ahead,
it's. I don't know, it's kind of hard to articulate because, like, I know how I feel about it, but I don't really know how to express that in a way that would maybe make sense to everyone else but me.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is that, I guess we are, we were getting Martha's story and we were getting, like, kind of her journey to, like, all the things that kind of happened along the way that led her to kind of the end of the story in 102.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the very least, I think the whole point kind of like this chapter, at least up until like when she was with the other soldiers and they were having that conversation about like what was the point of any of this, like why did we do this, why did we fight and go to war. I think there was like one other soldier who said something, what was the point of any of it, what were we even fighting for? Like, he's the kind of supposed to be the one standing in asking like the big question of like what was the point of all of this when there was all this suffering and pain. And like, it's really unfortunate for Paul that he was just trying to be friendly, he was trying to be sweet, but in the end, even he couldn't make it out of the situation alive when he was literally on his way back home.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly sad.
I mean,
that's
I
guess
know it
that's
seems
one.
like super pointless for him to die like that. I think it's just supposed to be like, these people are really broken down, even the ones who seem like they're trying to survive by maybe being friendly, maybe being happy. They were all still hurting, I think, at the end of the day from what they've been through.
I mean, it's one of those unspoken things about war, because wars do not end cleanly, and I don't feel like wars or this very planned out event. Like, wars are fucked up. Like, they're shit in every angle. But something that is not spoken of is that the end of wars, when the conflict officially ends, quote unquote, like diplomatically, and things start to go back to quote unquote times of peace. That process is also messy and very, kind of grim, because this entire ordeal of Martha reaches platoon, that is a troop that is going back to Oceania, and people die on their way back to Oceania. Like, there's a very hefty historical record of things like that happening. I don't know if you have watched The Pianist. The story that he was telling is based on the real memoirs of a survivor from World War II, and a Polish survivor. So.
Yeah.
And part of the process of that was, when the war ends, it was rescuing survivors. And a lot of those people died because of malnutrition, of illness, of dehydration, of lack of sleep. So that kind of messy process of returning to normalcy is an important part, because it's not like, fucked up things happen here, but now on my train to home and everything is gonna be okay. No, even the train to home is shit when it comes to war.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just in the context of, I agree 100%, and I also agree that it wasn't Endo doing this just to do it, but that's what it felt like, to like a lot of the fandom, and also myself to a point. Like, I mean, I remember when we had this conversation a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I was not hot on this chapter, not because I didn't agree with the message that Endo was trying to send, nor did I think that the chapter itself wasn't competent or it didn't have any emotional hit, because it totally did. Like, I totally felt for Martha the entire time. It's just like, and we had everyone pretty much came to the same conclusion that this was like, we haven't seen the Forgers or had any fun times in like 4 months at this point.
Yeah, was it like April?
And they're really adding on to the depressingness and hopelessness of everything. And it's like, we get it. Like, we understand, especially in this podcast, that like, war sucks, war is terrible, there's nothing good about war, and nobody is innocent. But it's like, okay, dude, we get it. Like,
what is it?
Can we please see Anya and like Yor? And like, I'm glad that the arc is over now. And when this arc first started, I didn't think I would have gotten tired of it, because the first, like, even like the I think this was the 4th chapter, chapter 100. After like the 3rd chapter, I was like, I was still in it, but it just kind of felt like the end was getting elongated to a point where it's like, all right, like, I already know how this. That's the problem, I think, is that I already know how this is going to end. Like, Martha's still alive, Henry's still alive. We know they don't get together, but they're still kind of drawing it out to where like maybe they will, maybe they won't, but it's like they won't, because we already know the outcome of the story.
We already saw, him getting married when he got the bad news that weren't the real bad news.
Right.
But
yeah. I think Sid, you had said it was like, this honestly could have just been like a very quick, like 2 or 3 page of her going through Westalis, dodging the soldiers, and then she shows up in Westalis or in Ostania, and then chapter 102 happens, but it could have just all happened last chapter.
Yeah, I kind of got tired of it last chapter. It was just kind of like, this kind of feels like it's dragging on a little bit. So when Endo mentioned that even he's getting tired of it, he was like,
right.
Yeah, and I was like, thank God, next chapter's the last one.
Yeah, well, it's like, well, dude, you're the one writing. You could have just like taken the week off and like made one big chapter, like with what he did here, but like just mashed them all together. I was like, whatever.
But yeah, we have a
gag moment.
now, so
yeah, it's like, well, we could have done that earlier, bro. Like, all right, whatever.
Oh yeah, it's like Gege Akutami moment. Like, oh, what I'm writing this, dude, you're the writer.
Right. Like, this sucks. Wait a minute, I'm the one making.
No bringing KK into this household. Hines isn't here, so
right. She can't.
I don't read. I've never read JJK, but I am aware.
Don't. When you see,
very aware.
Like, I mean, when you see that the manga takes inspiration from Bleach, run. Chances are they're gonna inherit the flaws too.
Yeah.
I thought that he was taking people were saying he was taking inspiration by what's that one where everybody just gets killed off?
Oh, Chainsaw Man?
No. It was another one.
I think people are criticizing that he's trying to go for like the Chainsaw Man route to make it impactful, but nobody really cares. Like,
Akame got killed, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's worse.
Look, there's a lot of anime that kill off a lot of people. But, I mean, we were just saying because Endo had like this. I don't know. It's one of those things where I guess he kind of had to get it out of his system. Yeah.
It's one of those things where he felt at the moment when he was writing it, but maybe later he looked back and like,
well, shit.
Maybe. Well, shit. Yeah. Been there. But yeah, okay. But now that we actually get an epilogue of sorts.
So I did want to point one thing out, and I guess it still ties into what we're talking about with chapter 102. But because I hadn't seen this chapter in like almost a month, so I started rereading it. The very first page, there's a map of Westalis and Ostanian border. The front line is on Westalis side. The retreating Ostanian army is moving back across the border. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, obviously this doesn't prove anything one way or the other, but in my head I'm thinking, okay, like if Westalis was the aggressor in this situation, likely things would be on the Ostanian side. But Westalis is pushed back a fair way into their border. So that would logically follow that Ostania was the one that initiated the war, or at the very least, they're the ones like pushing harder than Westalis, which is like I mean, it could go either way because apparently this has been going on for years, so they could go back and forth. But I did think it was interesting that it ended on the Westalis side, and Westalis pushed them all the way back outside the border.
I mean, the timeline is kind of confusing. Like, how much time did it actually took place between, you know, Martha drafting and the war ending? Because it almost feels like the war was a small scuffle that didn't last shit.
Could be.
We need Endo to drop a timeline and a map of the continent.
We need Endo to write out an entire history book.
Just a map.
Like
all I want is a map.
Yeah. I do too. I'm like, what?
I mean,
is this based off of like all like European countries? Like, I need to know these things.
I mean,
they kind of have it.
Yeah.
Of what's but like half of it.
It looks similar to Germany, like, but I feel like it's not. You know, I don't know. It's just like I need to know things.
Like,
for lore.
I mean, it just. Building. I really trying to think how much time has it passed because in this new chapter when Martha gets the reveal, Henry mentions like, oh, she's my wife. I married her a month ago. Like,
yeah,
how much time did it pass between your engagement, your marriage, and like how long has it took between those two events? Because it doesn't seem like it has taken too much time at all. So that war was a crapshoot, I guess. Like, it had to be. I mean, in any case, it was gonna be pointless, but it now seems extra pointless now that we know it was brief as fuck.
Yeah, and it looks like nothing was achieved. Like even the guy and the one who was talking with Paul and I was gonna say Martha. He's like, what was the point of all this? I'm like, well, it's like nobody got any land out of it. Nobody seemingly made any like political gains from it, aside from like the higher ups that were already in charge. So like, yeah, it looks like nothing happened.
Yeah, it was like
a lot of people died for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go kill each other. You know what?
Go kill family members because Lloyd arc made it clear that like there's family members on both sides of the border, so it's like
go kill them. Psych, just kidding. Let's get back to home.
We'll be back again in 10 years. Like seriously?
Actually, I'm kind of wondering now. Is it possible that maybe like Westalis used to be like a larger country before people decided to, become like their own independent country?
Oh, absolutely.
And become Ostania? Or like
that's what I'm assuming.
Oh,
that
really?
will be like Germany and France.
Yeah, probably.
If it's like Germany,
right?
Exactly, Germany and France.
That makes sense.
So,
the only thing that's holding me back from like fully committing on that is like we know literally nothing about Westalis.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
the same.
I mean,
the whole point is like they kind of were saying that they are like the similar.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's a lot of fuck it weeble with the world building of these manga, so.
Yeah, one thing that does make I might be making it up, but I think in one of the previous chapters they were immediately able to tell that Martha was Ostanian. So maybe there's like a physical characteristic different between each other, but it looks like everyone looks the same. So like I don't know if that was just like them just making assumptions.
I feel like when you get world building, but you want more.
That's what kind of annoys me a little bit, like, because I mean I know Tari was really appreciative of the world building, and I kind of am too, but it's like I feel like we got more character building than world building. Which
And
is
we
Yeah,
got
that's
more questions than
typically what
answers.
we get.
Yeah, because we saw Donovan
Yes.
briefly, and I'm like, isn't this guy like the main like antagonist?
And we don't know anything about him.
Besides,
Yeah.
just that little snippet of him in a flashback, and I'm like,
Yeah,
ah.
so he got his Nobita ass look into the frame, said some ominous shit, and then moved away. Like, it was like, oh, you're Donovan. Wait, come back, you asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
We
kinda like,
really
when
didn't get
is
much out of
Endo-
it.
So when is Endo gonna delve into like we got Lloyd's backstory, but it's like there's things that I would want to see, like
Yor.
with Yor,
Yeah,
Donovan,
Yor. I am begging. I am
Begging
begging
and
for
pleading on my
Yor and
knees.
stuff
Garden.
over the Project Apple. I really want to know the Garden. I want to know lore about that.
Yeah.
Eh,
I mean, yeah, there's
I
so
I
mean-
see so
much.
much of Wise that I'm just like, I mean, I'm good with Wise. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know more about Westalis too. Honestly, we have seen like nothing in that country basically.
You
Right.
know what? If we do go into Wise, and this is completely off topic of what we're supposed to be talking about with the chapter, but like if we do get Wise, I want to see the director again because we saw him once at the
Onion guy?
beginning of the
Oh,
Eden
yeah.
arc, and
Is
he's
he
like,
alive? Is he still around?
Is he in charge of Wise? Like, who is this guy? Like, what is he supposed to
He's
be
the
doing?
one that
Like,
knows Twilight's real name.
right?
There's got to be somebody that
Some kind of
still knows.
significance there,
Like,
maybe.
I don't know. Like, that's we got like 6 chapters of Henry and Martha, and we've had 0 chapters of Yor, and I'm just like pulling my hair out. Like,
I feel the
Eh.
frustration with that. 'Cause-
I don't know. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, I guess the problem will be the pacing, if you will.
it's absolutely the pacing. That's my problem. Is like we're 102 chapters in, and we know nothing about Yor's past, but we know more about Martha and Henry than we do about Anya or Lloyd or any of the main characters. So it's like, cool, I guess. You know, it's just like I love Martha and Henry. Don't get me wrong. It's just like.
It's even hard to like specify like how much time has passed between like the first and second war because I never even knew that there were 2 wars until like
Oh.
5 years into the manga.
True.
Yeah.
And there's probably more wars than that. You know, there's probably another war before all of that.
Yeah.
Apparently, like it's ended like 15 years ago. The second war,
Oh,
10, 15.
Possibly. Okay, now we're doing math.
possibly.
Okay. Let me pull out the calculator because Lloyd's like,
I think he's like at least 30.
I think he's about 30. But if he was, yeah,
I feel like he's older than you are, but they might. I feel like they're around the same.
he could be like
age.
31, 30, because that would kind of
31,
make sense.
32.
Because if he was 15, look, we're trying to fucking just.
We're trying to make
Just
it
a bunch of
sense.
We're
question
grasping at
marks
we're grasping at
in my
straws here.
brain right now.
I know. Okay, let's put that on pause. Let's focus. Let's refocus. Let's move on to chapter 102 and talk about all the things that we have to talk about with 102 because Martha gets home. Martha comes home and she
The
meets.
family
And
reunion.
we saw her mom and dad. That's she looks like old Martha. Like I love that. It's cute.
Yeah,
Like,
she
The
does.
Yeah.
reunion of them crying together was so wholesome.
that was very
Can
cute.
you
Like,
imagine
could you
thinking that
imagine?
your daughter's dead and then all of a sudden she pops up on your doorstep?
Oh, I would never recover. I would cry all day. Like
I know. Oh.
Oh,
I love her little get up where she's like, "I'm going to school." Mom's like, "What? Why? Why are you going to school?"
lady.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, did she ever graduate?
That's a good question, actually.
Think so, because it was already like
She
the
was
end of
already in her
term.
last year, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was in
Oh.
her last year, and I was just wondering, did she graduate?
I'm sure she did.
I'm
Before
going to
going to war?
assume she did.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
I don't think Henry ever made a mention of, like, you should at least graduate before you do this or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, really.
Oh.
I would assume so, just because it's like Eden. I don't know. I feel like if it was like a draft, then I would be like, okay, yeah, she probably didn't finish, but she volunteered, so like I think they probably wanted her to finish. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't know for sure. But
Oh.
yeah, so she runs to school. They're like, where's she's looking for Henry, and she finds Henry, and he's got the monocle, and she's like, I don't know. We see Henry's new wife. I didn't think we would actually see her.
I know.
Lucia.
Well,
Lucia?
do we?
She's
Because-
very pretty.
She must
No.
be
She's very
related to
pretty.
Lloyd's mom because they both don't have eyes.
Yeah.
That was like that was what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
did we really see her? Because we don't see her eyes, and that is interesting because we do see Martha's parents' eyes. So
Probably
what's
'cause
the
she's
deal with
dead.
that? I mean, she's
Probably
dead. She's most likely dead.
now.
She probably didn't care to remember. I don't know, like
No, I don't think that's it.
No.
No, because
It's very
I'm-
clear by the end that they both cherished her enough to come and visit her grave. I'm assuming it's her grave
Well,
they're visiting.
I
She
don't-
is telling the story to Becky, so I
Well-
feel like she's not very relevant.
well,
Because
see,
it's based on Martha's point of view, talking about like her first love, basically, and I don't think Lucia is very.
Well, she's not technically relevant in that regard because really she's not like a bad person. She just happened to marry a man, and this man thought the other woman that he kind of, might have actually loved was dead at that point. So really, like, no one is really a villain here in this situation.
Yep.
It was just like, bad string of luck, bad, turn of events that led to it.
yeah.
And like, even Martha says like she did appreciate Lucia and like how much Lucia like admired her and was happy for her, and like that's very sweet.
Yeah.
think
No, I
of
don't
her.
mean that she hated her or anything, but
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
recall, I mean, like Lloyd doesn't remember his parents' faces. We don't see her parents' face, even though of course they loved her. So it just might kind of be like, I don't know. I don't know. quite
No,
what
but
I'm trying to get at with that, but like,
I mean,
you
yeah.
know what? I get what you're saying. It is kind of like a little confusing. It's like, okay, why hide her eyes, or why not make a point of like showing her full face? Like, does that
Mhm.
mean unconscious or like unconsciously Martha might hold a little bit of like a grudge, but
mhm.
she's made a point to say like this woman was very kind to her and very nice to her, and Martha.
But that
knows
doesn't mean
she-
you can't hold a grudge. That
I guess
doesn't mean
that's
you can't hold a
fair.
grudge.
I mean,
Yeah,
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's spiteful, but you know what? It might just be Endo's way of saying, and I really hope I'm wrong, that like they're not gonna be part of the story proper. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're not gonna see like Lloyd's
Mm.
mom in her entirety. We're not gonna see Lloyd's dad in his entirety.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, she's not.
I'm kind of
very
afraid that
relevant.
might actually be.
I hope not. I need to see Lloyd's dad.
I get.
So bad.
Same,
I
yeah, I want to see her
suppose-
face, but
Yeah.
Lloyd
No.
doesn't remember.
Right.
It will make
he might.
sense.
He might later.
I'm trying to understand this
He
design
might get
choice
bonked on the
because
head. And like,
yeah, I'm trying to really
Again!
hit me.
Anya, get another Tony bolt.
You're hit him.
Oh, yeah, I fucking...
Sorry. Go ahead, Rescue. What you say?
No, I think I'm trying to make sense out of this design choice because it feels there's a commonality of intention here between the three characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you bother to actually draw, Martha's parents, and they're probably not gonna be part of the main story because Martha's old, so her parents are pretty much definitely fucking dead. But you make a point of not giving a face to someone who had a very particular impact on Martha's life.
She's like the outsider to Martha's life, kind of, because she just kind of like came in unexpectedly.
She came in.
She wasn't
and
expecting
destroyed.
her to pop up.
But
Yeah.
but I'm trying to really make out because with Lloyd's mom, it's clear that he was close to her, even if she's starting to not remember her. And with Lloyd's dad, well, you know the deal. So it makes me wonder if this is about if this is an aspect about how he's trying to portray memories. Because I don't know, like if you met a woman that married the man that you were in love with, and you probably spend the next decades at least occasionally talking with her, I doubt you will forget her face.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is it then?
I think it's just a design choice on Endo's part. I'm not quite sure what the meaning of it is, but
Oh, it's
I don't know.
because
I feel like it fits the situation. I don't know why.
I don't know. It's maybe it's because some of this perception is from Becky's point of view. So,
But you know what? It might also be that, I mean, she's been dead for 15 years. We're assuming that this is who we're talking about. So it just could be like, memory fades with time and like, the person, but you might not remember exactly what their face is like, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I still remember people I met and that are dead from 15 years or longer. So, okay,
yeah.
but I don't know. I just think that this is gonna come back because it almost reminds me of Soichiro in Masoni Koku. Like it's 80s manga by Rumiko Takahashi, the author of Ranma One Half and Inuyasha. Um, and that manga is actually a little more dramatic than her usual fare. And there's a very important point that the main character is trying to date a widower, and the husband of that widower, when shown in flashbacks, you never see his face, and it's an important point that you never see his face. So you're gonna say so it makes me think that maybe in this case it's a similar situation where the face is not really important in the context of who they are.
Right.
In some
Yeah. And that's why I assume that like she's not going to be relevant to the story proper. Like this is a story told within a story, and like, we're not going to see Henry's wife pop up in any meaningful way except in like flashbacks or anything.
I
like
mean,
that.
why would we?
Yeah.
I mean,
Right,
why
that's
would
what I'm
we?
saying. Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
the point. Oh, sorry. What were you saying, Roski?
No, like, why would we at this point? Like, it's not really relevant. It will be a little contrived to get like a side chapter of Henry giving flowers to her grave and having a flashback. Like that will be a little too contrived. Like the entire point of this backstory has been served. Like I don't think we need that. Maybe the spin-off, but not today.
I just wonder about all like we went such in depth with this. I just wonder what the importance of this will be later on in the story. I just wonder if it's going to be like foreshadowing or something.
I don't know. I do think that I do think that the importance of this has been thematic more than lore or narrative. Like one of the major, like the most beautiful takeaways of this chapter in particular was the conclusion of the story and what Martha took away from it. Because one of the points, like, okay, she went through a lot of shit. She was sent to the front lines, even if she wasn't expecting to. She saw her friends being killed. She got shot and rescued by the enemy. And all of this was after the ballet troupe that she wanted to join got killed in an air raid. So this has so the entire story to that point was the events of the war systematically destroying the thing that she cherished. And then in a roundabout way, she ended, even if it wasn't under the circumstances she wanted, she ended up getting into ballet again. So thematically, this is about resilience, I will say. Partially about resilience.
Yeah, partially.
So the people that do come out of war still have a life ahead of them. It may be not what the life they wanted, it may be not good, but war isn't the end of it. So when people survive these kind of things, they still have a future ahead of them. And in this case, someone that had a future ahead of them was able to see one of the root problems of war, which is a very recurring theme in the manga and an admirable recurring theme to have in a manga. That is that getting too caught up in our preconceptions and perceptions and what we think reality has to be like is one of the most dangerous mindsets because it is what enables to other people, to
Mhm.
oh, they have to be bad, they have to be the enemy, and that's not how people operate. Even some of the most dangerous and stupid people still have nuance to them because in some way, shape, or form, they believe they are doing the right thing. And the fact that this has
Some
been read,
instances.
well, yeah, there's people that definitely have abandoned any semblance of
It's the
humanity.
reason me and Sid are drinking right now.
Yeah.
Cheers!
Cheers! Yeah, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ruski. I also think that one of the takeaways, and this is a question I'm going to pose to you guys, is like I'm going to reread this entire panel, and I want to get y'all's opinion on this. It's well, I'll read the panel before that too. It says you see, it's the things that we don't understand that make us feel uneasy. I'm sure that due to some animal instinct deep within us, we convince ourselves that we do understand things we don't in order to make ourselves feel better. The people of that country are evil, or it's the elites doing as they please again. And maybe it is that simple, and maybe it isn't. But latching on to such assertions and persuading yourself of their truths, that's a certain sort of weakness, and it's a dangerous one. What do y'all
Um,
feel about? Let's start with Blue. How do you?
Mm.
I mean, do you agree with that statement, or is there like more nuance to that? Do you think? Like, what's your take on that?
I think that there is a lot of wisdom in what she's saying, and to add on to what you're talking about, like quoting these panels, the one now on the next page, I think, kind of is supposed to sum up Martha's point, which is accepting that you don't know is every bit as important as trying to learn the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the whole message of what Martha is trying to say, and it's something I know we've talked about before too, is that, you know, understanding the truth or being willing to understand it or learn it, even if it isn't maybe something you want to hear, maybe it's something that's even unpleasant or something that's bitter to swallow, it's still important to know, what is true, what is false, rather than living in ignorance, which is again kind of going back to what Lloyd talked about all those chapters ago,
Mm-hmm.
when he said ignorance is sinful, or
Mm-hmm.
it's wrong.
Yeah.
You should always try to know the full story, even if it's an unpleasant story, um, because kind of going into using fear to motivate you to, in this case with war, like using that fear of the unknown, of unknown people, or unknown of like what they will do if they hurt you, like all of those kind of assumptions, those scenarios they're thinking up in their head, like there's really no way to tell if that's really what would have happened. So of course their mentality is like, I have to hit them first before they hit me, basically.
Right.
And it's really a shame that some people feel that way, that they have to hurt people first before they get hurt back, without really knowing if that's what would have happened, and I guess not being strong enough to maybe accept that sometimes they are going to get hurt, sometimes there is going to be some pain in the not knowing or having the unknown, but it shouldn't stop you from trying to give decent people the benefit of the doubt when you can, reasonably, of course. Put some trust and faith into that, I guess. And like Martha said, it is a certain kind of weakness to jump into things you don't understand, trying to make sense of it. But like going about it in the wrong way, where you, I guess, can shift the blame onto them for whatever their wrongdoing is, or like how they're dangerous and they're the ones in the wrong. They are something to be feared or something to be eradicated, because if we don't, they will destroy us and our way of life, our people.
Yeah.
Right.
And everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Sid, what do
Uh,
you think?
Man, my brain's dead right now.
Would you like us to come back to you?
Can you like kind of reiterate what you're asking? Cause
So basically, I guess. Well, here let me give my opinion on.
sorry, the alcohol.
You know what's funny? I had to rein myself back a minute. I started zoning out, and I was like, "Nope, wait, I am
Oh my
hosting
God.
a
I was zoning
podcast.
out.
That's okay."
Y'all aren't allowed to drink anymore during
What are you
these.
talking about? This is the best podcast. Anyway, no, I agree, Blue, and it's funny too because my gut instinct and because I agree. I agree with pretty much everything you said, but like in my gut, like my initial knee jerk reaction is to be like, no, like there objectively is a right and wrong, and I guess striving to know what that right and wrong is important. That it's not just like sometimes things are that simple. I guess is my knee jerk reaction, but like
Okay.
in my head, I know that you're right. It's just like I don't know. I guess maybe it's
Well,
like
okay,
a
I
symptom
do-
of
I do agree that as human beings, there are inherently things that would be deemed completely evil and wrong to do versus like what is, I guess, neutral and then good.
yeah,
let's
but
call it.
but in the context of war, it's much more difficult to ascertain what that is.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to
Yes,
know because
yes.
it's like it's
Like
a
I could
really
go up and punch Pines in the face right now, and that would be very bad. Like that's objectively, I did the wrong thing. But
Right.
if I declared war on England and be like, okay, well, why did you declare war on England? And it's like, okay, there's probably a bunch of reasons why that happened, and then there's probably a bunch of reasons why they want to go to war with me. You know what I mean? Like it's not like when you're at that high of a level, when you're involving the lives of hundreds of millions of people, it's not as simple as just like, oh, he called me a name, I'm gonna push the nuclear button on him. It's like,
yeah.
no,
You know,
there's
I think a
No.
big
yeah,
problem
it's related to like
with-
oppression and other a lot of things. It gets so complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the
Very
Dunning-Kruger
complicated.
effect.
Well, I think
It-
a big problem for human beings is kind of
It's
there
the
is
known.
kind of that sense of justice, I'll call it, I guess, or maybe pettiness, where when you get hurt or, you know, like something happens, something bad that happened to you, and someone is the cause of it, your first gut reaction is probably to like get revenge or find some way to like bring them to justice, get them punished for it.
Mhm.
And depending on the severity of the action that was done, and like whatever the punishment was and how that person reacts to it, of course, they might end up retaliating back on you. And then it kind of just becomes that vicious cycle of like, well, who started what, and like how far does it escalate until like one of you is like dead on, like is like literally dead or whatever.
No, yeah.
And I
It's-
think
I also
there
feel
is
like
It's I was gonna say that that two things come to my mind when I see that panel. One is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Do you know that one?
no.
nope.
It's a common cognitive bias that people have. That is that the amount of knowledge you have about some topic is inversely proportional to the confidence you have to speak about a topic. So, complete and utter idiots that don't know what the fuck they're talking about are gonna feel like they have it all figured out. Then you start
Right.
learning.
Sid, cheers.
Then you start learning.
Isn't that this
And then you see-
podcast?
Hey, I know things about stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, no, I don't.
I act like I do, and I'm the one with a YouTube
Oh.
channel. So
Yeah.
Isn't this
Okay,
all our
no.
YouTube channel, comrade?
Duh.
No. But
Where's
this is
the
important
Russian,
because
the Soviet Union anthem or whatever?
It's our
Voted.
podcast.
No.
Comrade
But
Crow.
like,
Comrade
No,
Sid and
okay.
Comrade Roski.
Okay, no, but this is important because this is where one of the major problems with humanity comes into place. people make bad decisions because they are convinced that they are doing the right thing. You know, this experiment was this effect was discovered because someone tried to rob a bank, and he didn't use a mask. He covered his face in lemon juice because he thought that since you can make invisible ink with lemon juice,
Oh
lemon
my
juice will
god.
make you invisible.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Wow.
It
That
gets
sounds
that
like
bad.
some Florida shit right there.
It really
Poor
does.
No.
man.
But
Senpai,
imagine
What
please
did he?
confirm or
Did
deny
he
that
think
this
if he like
happened in,
put a candle near him, he'd reappear or something?
no,
It's like,
they
I'm so sorry. Have you seen Mystery Men where fucking Kel Thompson is like, I can turn invisible, but you can't be looking at me when it happens. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I can't turn invisible if you're looking at me.
Oh
So
my
Yeah.
can I say something before I forget?
Do it.
Yeah.
do it.
Like tying back to that whole conversation, though, I think it kind
No,
of just
that,
links
that I was
back
trying to get back to it, but
Yeah, I was just like wanting to say that it
Yeah.
all kind of links back to the fact that like humans are very complex and have their own like desires and different like opinions over things, and it just seems like some people want peace, and then there's some people that like
Yeah. I mean, if
have
humans
that like desire for power and greed too.
if
and
humans
it's
weren't
just,
so
like,
complicated, we wouldn't be arguing about how to live a fucking life without being like,
Real.
you're offending me. How dare you
Cheers.
live your life? How dare you be happy by not doing exactly what I think is right? It's like, what the fuck
Oh,
is
yeah.
that?
Yeah, and that leads to arguments
No.
and stuff with people
Yeah,
by having
that-
different
that-
like
that was-
lifestyles and views and stuff.
Yep.
that was what I was getting at. Like,
Yeah.
like
Hey,
I
Russell,
was
could
explaining
you
like
go in a little closer to the mic,
Yeah.
please.
when you do not know about the things that you want to talk about, things what you want to do, you're gonna take certainty that you do know. So it's very hard for people to understand that even in values that we tend to agree are good. You know, there is a Japanese proverb that says, "Give give a homeless man a leaf of bread and he's gonna eat for one day. Give him a fishing rod and he's gonna eat for the rest of his life." Right there, you have two very different views of what generosity is.
Right.
And
yeah.
generosity, like, even in something that simple, there's nuance and there's differences in opinion. So even more so at large scale, when it implies, it involves the lives of so many people, the nuance is gonna get lost because people get confused, and people that get confused tend to simplify things like, me good, he bad, because it's easier for humans to deal with simple bullshit than to deal with the fact that they don't know, because that makes them feel unsure and scared. This is why this cognitive bias exists in the first place. It's a protective mechanism of our primitive brains to give us a sense of certainty in the light that we don't know a lot of things.
Yeah.
So to acknowledge that is the first step to actually learn. To learn and learn to unlearn, even.
Yeah, it just makes you think of all the stories where it's just like people were living peacefully, and then all of a sudden one person's like, "Oh, I want what you have.
Yeah.
You seem to have a much better life than I do. I'm gonna rob you and kill your family or like whatever and stuff." And it just all leads back to how like people have different thought processes and opinions, and
Yeah.
and then people want to steal or take things for themselves that they think they may have a lesser life than someone else.
Yeah. Well, and then that's where the nuance comes in, because it's like, it could be that, and it could also be this guy's like one paycheck away from losing everything, and his family's about to go on the streets, and he can't afford to feed his kids. So it's like it's either you or my family, and I'll choose my family. So, and that's that's where it comes back to with Martha's speech, or it's just like we have no way of, we are people, we are not gods. We don't have a third person perspective on life. We only know what we know, but that's not everything. So don't assume that what you know is everything, because there's always way more going on in the background that you should strive to learn about. But at the same time, it's like you never can learn all of it, I guess. So
No, that is definitely, I think, impossible to know everything ever going on with people or with the world or with, whatever. It's important to strive for it, but it can be kind of impossible. The best I think you can do is at least learn enough where you know how to take care of the people that you do value, that are in your life. Take care of yourself, take care of them, and hopefully strive to be as loving and I think hopefully as accepting as you can be of like other people who might be different from you but aren't hurting anyone, so there's really no reason to judge them for like their lifestyle choices and whatnot. I also kind of wanted to say it's kind of off topic but sort of related to like sort of what Martha's saying here, but it's more about like kind of basically it's how everyone's been talking about kind of the death of media literacy that's been overtaken on everything with like social media.
You don't say.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna bring it up just because like this feels kind of related to that. Where you're,
hey, let me go get more scotch. Go ahead.
I'm gonna chug the rest of this.
Like you do have people nowadays who, even just for media, not even for like real people stuff. Like not even dealing with real lives, real people, even just with their media, they are getting heated and pissed off about like, if you like a character that did a bad thing, you're somehow also a bad person because you are okay. That the fact that it's like, no, what?
I could like a character and not agree with what they do.
Yeah, literally. It's like, how can you like make that weird connection of like, enjoying certain things, means that you feel that way about it. It's like that's not really the point. And also it's very I don't know, it's just mind-boggling the way people have been acting.
Critical
think about
thinking
their
is
media
hard
nowadays. Like
critical
thinking is hard.
Critical thinking is hard. It's very true. Because I think, nowadays it feels like a lot of people would rather have cookie cutter good guys, bad guys, no nuance about good actions from bad people or bad actions from good people. I feel like we don't see
like we're
a lot of that
human
anymore in our media sometimes.
We're fucking human. There's good people. There's people that we may consider good that have done things that we don't agree with. Like not even outright bad things. You're just gonna end up disagreeing with how some people do their quote unquote good things. Like even on that level, there's gonna be disagreement. You have to learn that humans are not cut out good or cut out evil. That's denying the nuance that you have even within.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be the title of this episode for today. Is just nuance.
Yeah.
Because it's like it is a thing, and we've joked that like nuance is dead in social media, but it's
actually
true.
No. The title should be "The Sins of Man."
The sins of man. Okay, that's a little deep.
That's a little poetic, but
yeah. But I mean, I appreciate, and I was dogging on the last chapter, and like this chapter, I was tepid on. But you know what? After we've had this conversation, I do very much appreciate the fact that Endo is able to allow us to have this conversation, because I don't think it's a conversation that really gets talked about much in today's society, at least in the space that we're talking about it right now, of like, with what's going on in the world right now, and the very few conversations I have in terms of war and like what is going on is like either at work, which is like a very one-sided political viewpoint from where I live, or it's Reddit, where everyone is crazy. So it's like the four of us being able to talk about this in a mature setting about like the intricacies of war and nuance and like everything that goes in, that is involved with it. I will be forever appreciative of Endo for that. Like this is
at least getting the ball kind of rolling and getting. I mean, it's great that a thing we love so dearly can give us a space and like something to think about with these kinds of topics that I don't think a lot of other manga don't really. I don't know. I guess I haven't seen enough like this, but like I haven't really seen manga that has these kind of topics in mind.
I try to avoid those types. And
read Vinland Saga, guys. it touches on this.
But see, this is the thing too. Is like the people who I get what you're saying.
Well, at least
Roski.
this is a digestible version of it
That's-
that
No,
most
yeah,
people
but
can get into.
It has a good balance.
Yeah,
with
without
it.
being super depressing all the time and gory. Like, hey, it does sprinkle in some hope and peace in there, but also
it's accessible.
it's accessible.
It's slice of life comedy, and then also sprinkles in. Like,
unfortunately, Roski, this is a mainstream manga and anime, and at least that way we are getting the conversation going.
I mean, Vinland is a very popular anime manga series. I do agree with that, and it does do a very good job of saying what it wants to say. But I agree with Blue in that this is like a global phenomenon anime that is geared towards family and fluff.
I will at least
but at the same time, it tells its story.
Yeah, this story can appeal to many age groups. You can have younger people, like teenagers, even, or I don't know, maybe even a little bit younger than that. I don't know what the story is, maybe like 14 plus or something. But at least you can have a younger audience introduced to these topics.
Yeah,
and that's a good thing. That is a good thing to have. Especially with, in America, let's talk about, the great noble state of Florida and all the book bannings they're trying to do right now. That's insanity. And I'm really sad that they're trying to push to, not educate their children and just indoctrinate them in their own viewpoint. Like, that's fucking dangerous to do. And that's something that this manga is screaming like, no, don't fucking do that. You are going to ruin these people if you keep that.
And then they're going to ban that manga. Or something like that. But no, I was gonna say something like the bar is in hell if the place to have a mature and nuanced conversation about topics like this is between a bunch of manga nerds.
I mean, you know what? At this point, like, I mean, I agree with you, honestly, and see, that's the thing too, is like media in general, I feel like has failed us in recent years. And, like, the only things that we can do to educate ourselves are to consume media that isn't... consume everything except social media. So, read books.
Yeah.
Read manga. Watch anime. Do something. But expose yourself to different things. Like, they might not all be things that you particularly like. Like, there's some stories that I've read that where it's, like, specifically like sports based, and I'm not like a sports based book kind of guy, but like the story in there is interesting and it presents a different perspective than I would normally read from the type of media that I consume. So like it's
always worth giving something a shot, even if you don't think it would maybe appeal to you.
Well, it's about broadening your horizons,
horizons,
and like that. I mean, it just goes back to what Martha is saying, is like you don't know everything, and the space, the echo chamber that you're in, because we're an echo chamber here on this podcast. Like, it's not in a terrible sense, but like any place where you meet and like all of you have the same opinions and you're echoing off of each other, that's an echo chamber. And
it's important to be aware of that. Like, it's important to be aware that in a different, like, that's actually part of why I have been enjoying to broadening my horizons. That, like, lately I have been hanging out with a server that is focused on the Clock Tower series, the horror games.
Mm-hmm.
And they are very different people than here.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
So the kind of conversations that I have with them are different than the conversations that I have here. And just that very act, opens space to different kinds of ideas, because the exchange of ideas we have here may open some conversation, but then you talk with someone different, and just the fact they have a very different mindset and very different set of interests, very different, it leads to a complexity of thought that you wouldn't have if you just stay in one place.
Mm-hmm.
Any one place that you stay is gonna be bound to be an echo chamber of sorts.
Right.
So to try to broaden just the spaces you are in already broadens the way you think.
Exactly.
Bro.
I 100% agree. And I'm just kind of adding on to this. I'll probably cut this out, but I remember when I took debate in high school, and I think one of the best things that I ever did was take debate, because it one, it teaches you how to articulate your thoughts, but it also teaches you how to see things from the other perspective, because when you do debate, you have to make two arguments.
Right.
One for the thing that you're arguing about and one against the thing that you're arguing about. So if it's like felons should not vote, you have to make an argument for why felons shouldn't vote, and then you also have to make an argument about why they shouldn't vote. And you have to argue both sides. And it really makes you think of like, okay, well, what are the pros, what are the cons of both sides, and like, why do certain people support one side as opposed to the other? So it really makes you think about like, okay, people have reasons for why they think that they do, and they're legitimate reasons. You just kind of have to make your own opinion based off of, like I said, what you know. So
yeah, it's
always look at the other side from another perspective.
Now, okay, that is interesting to me because we do know that, like, little Donovan was in the debate club, wasn't he? You're saying all this stuff about the debate club and how you had to argue and understand both sides. Like, that is interesting considering Donovan's character, the way he is, does not seem like he's willing to compromise at all on his side of things. But he did study that in school, so that is interesting. Maybe he just got very good at seeming like he understands, but doesn't actually care.
That is the
Makes
point.
me curious about his parents, because it's like, where did he get that, those opinions from?
Right.
Yeah.
Usually at that age, your influence is from adults in your life, like your parents.
That is also true. That is also true.
There's an interest
because
propaganda.
Demetrius is a carbon copy of Donovan, so I can only imagine like what his relationship with his parents were like. So
yeah.
I want to learn more about Melinda.
I want to learn. Endo, stop updating every 4 weeks and let me learn.
I know. Give me some Desmond family. I want to see like what's their family history like. Well, like did their great ancestors like help shape the fabric of Ostania? Like, what the fuck is the truth, man? What's the truth?
I still can't believe that we got a Demetrius drop just randomly, and
I know,
and
fucking
he's
jump
just
scare,
gone.
and
he's just
gone
Donovan again.
Fucking jump scare, man! I was not expecting any of it.
He just appears, gives empty thoughts, and then
I want Plan C
omnipresent.
again. It's making me wonder, like, what's gonna come next. I know, like, Endo mentioned, like, missing doing comedy, but I'm like, I do want slice of life things, but also, like, what's the next thing gonna be?
I want a fun arc.
Do we want to throw out some random, chaotic guesses of what the next chapter is gonna be like? Okay. Next chapter, Lloyd and Yor going on a date. Going on a
Please,
date.
we haven't had one of those in a long time.
I want them to have dinner.
What if, like, chapter 35?
I want Lloyd to cook for Yor. I want him to cook him
one bed trope.
A romantic dinner.
We should have got that with the fucking mountain trip thing. Like, damn it.
Oh, I know.
I want the one bed
The problem
trope.
is Lloyd is rich enough that he can afford the extra beds. It's awful.
Bastard. Now, he's not even rich. Why is this rich?
No, I want Yuri to come over or someone else, and then they're forced to share a room.
Oh,
Lloyd and
It's
Yuri
been hinted at, and I want it so bad.
Lloyd and Yuri share a bed.
No.
No, what would happen is Yor and Anya would share a bed, and Lloyd and Yuri would get separate beds.
He would find that kind of sus.
I feel like Yuri would, just so he could just stare at Lloyd the entire night.
You can see his red eyes in the shadows of his bedroom.
He's not even in the bed. He's just in the corner, just.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, I want Lloyd and Yuri to go on like a dinner date, but then it devolves into like kind of like chapter 2, where like they gotta run around and like chase bad guys or like run away from bad guys, but like, God, you know what I mean? Like, I just want one of those chapters.
Them working together? Yeah, that'd be great.
Questioning each other. I'm gonna throw out Garden. We're gonna get something with Garden. Shopkeeper, something. Garden, please. Yor, Garden.
I'll take Garden.
Or
and
assassins. Where are her assassin coworkers?
Anya. But I feel like Anya's gonna come.
I want Yor.
Does she have coworkers?
I want assassin coworkers. Silly.
I mean, they have like 5 or 6 silhouettes.
Yeah,
like, next
so
to
she's
her.
gotta
like,
have
but
some.
yeah, but the question.
Jealousy
no,
arc.
the question.
Jealousy arc.
No, the question isn't if there's more people working for Garden, but if Yor knows them, you know.
I'm
Yeah,
because-
assuming
more
Beast
about
McMahon
Garden,
is
man.
obviously, the director and stuff. So
But
Right.
yeah, he's basically like a handler to them. So
I'm
but
assuming
that
she
does.
does because she's been doing it for like
she
at
must
least
have
a
seen
decade
the
at
other
this
assassins.
point. Like
But
more
I
than
just
a
wonder
decade.
how
Like
they all work.
no, but yeah, but I
I
mean,
feel like they all work by themselves.
assassination and espionage are two different things. Like a lot of assassins aren't given co-workers per se because they are expected to do the task alone. So
Roski, don't ruin this for us, man.
Yeah.
I need an organization. I need
I need
battle
hot
ranks.
assassin man for Lloyd to be threatened by.
I need power
subconsciously.
scaling.
Jealousy arc.
power
Jealousy
scaling?
arc. Yeah,
What?
yeah. I need to know
It's like
who's
yours
top
had
dog.
it. Why can't Lloyd have a jealousy arc?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Why can't
Well,
he
I
be
need that.
worried?
Yeah.
Because
I want
Because
Lloyd to feel threatened.
logical
Well, I need
reason.
I need Yor to work with one of her. I need Lancelot. This is what I need. I need Lancelot.
Oh my god. I need you to shut your fucking mouth. Right the fuck now, man.
Yeah, I mean no, because I'm still waiting for that goddamn story to come out. Blue, it's been like 3 years.
Man, I think of past and I see that like we were teased of a Chwai or kiss all the way back in like chapter 9.
Yeah.
And like
We haven't
No,
got
I'm just
anything
like-
close to that ever.
it's a
Honestly,
desert out here.
I feel like if I'm gonna be realistic, I feel like we might get more Demi Anya stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna go back to Eden.
fucking-
I
hope
mean
not.
they. I mean
you,
they.
you gotta be prepared.
Maybe,
they kinda
maybe
dropped
we'll
the
get like
bomb.
a parents-teacher conference mini arc or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be a
they
new
Where
kinda-
Anya's like, I have to
so-
hide the fact that I'm failing from my parents somehow.
No, but I mean they kind of dropped the bomb with Anya, so they are
Yeah,
probably
there's that
inclined to
bombshell,
follow.
and then there's gonna be
follow
new
with that.
classes.
Oh,
like,
true,
split
right.
and
Anya might be
everything.
moving on to a different class now, but she did reveal to Damien about the fact that she can remind. I keep forgetting that happened.
I know. All of a sudden that happened, and then we were thrown into this like lore and back.
I know.
Well,
story.
I
Yeah.
need Twior crumbs. Like he couldn't even let Lloyd like feed her or somebody fed somebody almost, and like we didn't even get that. I'm like,
Yeah, Lloyd didn't
"Bitch,
feed
just give
Yor,
me
and
something."
then Yuri's just like, no, you can't feed her.
yeah,
I know, so stupid.
that's how babies are made. Fucking Yuri.
Oh, that,
Anyway, all right, everybody, that was the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are going to reconvene, and Roski, stop it. We're gonna reconvene August 8th. Jesus fucking Christ!
Ow!
I am under a blanket. I am sweating my.
I was gonna
right
say,
now.
let's not have Crow get heat stroke over here.
I'm close to it. I'm just
what
kidding.
was that?
Cool with that. So we're gonna try to do something else. I'm trying to. Me and Blue talked about like a month ago, and I didn't do shit this month. But I kind of want to do like YouTube shorts and like.
Oh yeah.
What about the game? What about the video game?
I'm sorry,
We
but
do
I'm
need
not
to do
paying
video game.
fucking that much money for it.
How much is it?
It's like $40, and then $50 for like the full version. That's bullshit. It's not
for
worth
the
it.
full version, I paid like 70 something.
Fuck that. I'm not paying for that.
I've been playing it.
We might. I might procure it for us, but we're gonna have to wait till
wait,
after.
if you have it, can we have you play it instead? Actually,
Daddy.
Right. What the hell was I talking about? Right.
let's get the
Yeah,
fuck
we'll try
out
to
of here.
figure.
Please stop holding us hostage, Crow.
Yeah, I'm pulling you hostage. You're the one fucking bringing up shit. Anyway, we'll try to figure out a stream. But yeah, so again, August 18th. If anything else happens between now and then, if we get more information on season 3, we will maybe do a quick little episode on that. But otherwise, in the meantime, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye.
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 Bye.